Greetings, GameCola faithful, and welcome back to more Let's Play Dragon Warrior. In the last episode, we died!
Yeah.
And then we died!
Which was the last episode? Because that sounds like a lot of them now.
Well, the previous episode in particular, I feel like we died a lot. We had...
But now we're hunting for metal slimes so that we don't die as much, perhaps.
Yes, and hoping that we don't die on the way to the metal slime. So now...
Straight down. Just pretend those mountains aren't there. Go all the way down that you can.
All right.
So I found a map that was on good old GameFAQs or Game FAQs, however you prefer to pronounce it, that gives a breakdown of the... And let me actually give credit to the name of the person who did this. It is by Lugaroo1, Dragon Warrior Enemy Territory Map. And this lovely map gives a breakdown of where every cluster of monsters is. And the way it's broken down, which is, as far as I understand, very typical of RPGs of this era, is it's in squares. So you have the entire overworld map, and it's in a nice, neat grid of X by Y squares, right? And each square has its own group of enemies that you may find, like 4, 5, 6 different types of enemies that you would potentially encounter in that square. And this bottom left corner here is Metal Slime territory. What's interesting
it's also is that territory, which I don't like.
Yeah.
Well, I was also going to say, that's where we've been hanging out.
True, but Demon Knights are also in other places. We have not been hanging out on this lower left corner, but what's interesting is there's also a Metal Slime territory catty corner with the same group of enemies here that's just on the diagonal up near that first bridge toward, or the other bridge that goes over Cantlin. The wrong bridge. So, like, we're here by the south bridge, but if we follow the mountains northeast up to that other bridge, that's also Metal Slime territory. We'll find all the same enemies, so it doesn't make a difference, so it's just if you want to change the scenery. But this is actually 2 squares worth of Metal Slime territory, so it gives us a little bit more to wander around in.
Gotcha.
So basically from the bridge all the way west to the coastline, and all the way north to the middle of the little mountain hoop.
Okay. Well, it'll give us some variety. We can kind of walk back.
Not saying that we'll actually find any before we get killed again, but...
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, and have we saved recently? No, we're starting off a fresh save file, right?
Yeah, we did save recently before we got to this specific area, so we should be all right. Hey!
Hey!
Hello.
Oh.
Goodbye.
Well, we've at least found one, so confirmed we're in the right spot.
Yes, all right,
no,
great.
What's interesting about this map is that the way the squares are put up, it's not just every single square is just here's a different group of enemies. Some of them are continuous, like there's a line of 3 or 4 squares in a row that's all the same enemy. And it's kind of interesting to look at it in terms of, okay, where's the player going to be wandering, and, you know, why did the designers decide to make, like, this patch, this strip, this little zigzag area filled with these monsters versus any other monsters?
Yeah.
So I always like looking at that. I love RPG overworld maps, like seeing the completed. We just took a bunch of screenshots of every spot on the overworld and sewed it together, pieced it together into a full map. I think I was mentioning using those as don't cross the bridge.
Oh, don't cross the bridge. Ah, okay.
Yeah, because then we're still in territory, but we are just about to leave territory by crossing the bridge.
Gotcha.
So basically, this is the farthest east you can go, unless you want to go north more, which we're working on learning, and then east again, and then that's other slime territory.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Man, and we are closing in on the shield.
Yeah, we are. Slowly but surely.
But yeah, I love looking at the fully composed maps and just seeing how these worlds look, and then breakdowns like this of, oh, you know, here's where all the monsters hang out, and kind of, you know, getting a better picture of how that plays into game progression.
Now, do we actually want to hang out here, or do we want to go back to where we were surviving pretty well?
I think we were specifically trying to see if we could get a metal slime.
I will
We saw one.
need to head back to
after this
the
fight.
castle after this fight.
Nice.
All right. Return.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe we alternate just to switch it up a little bit, like do a metal slime hunt, come back, save, heal, and then go out somewhere where we just do normal grinding.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we need to come back and restore, then switch it up, metal slime hunt again.
Sure. Heal.
72 MP. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's like 3 battles that we can heal from.
Yeah. Because the thing is, that's why I've been trying to cast sleep.
Probably, I mean, it's probably worth saving anytime we're here.
Oh,
and
yes.
I don't think we used any herbs.
Nope.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to cast the sleep spell more, not the sleep more spell, which doesn't exist as far as I know.
That'd be good.
Because that costs only, I think, 3 MP, 2 or 3 MP, and so casting that once or twice, as opposed to being hit 4 times in a battle and needing to cast heal once per hit that I'm taking, roughly, which costs 4 MP a pop. By casting, I can spend 2 MP or 4 MP to save myself 8 or 12.
Not.
Slime, you're not the kind I'm looking for.
You got him. Look at all that.
Could you put on this metal armor real quick? All right. So what do we think? We want to head to the Cantlin area or head back to Rimmildar-ish?
Maybe Rimmildar, right? Because it's closer to walk back to town when you're there.
Yes. And I've got so now that I'm repelling, it's also just generally much.
Well, if you're
faster.
repelling, you can just walk straight through those hills.
That's true.
Oh, well, then you'd have to go through the swamp, I guess. So.
Yeah,
It's not that big of a deal now that we got 86 hit points.
that's true.
Oh, and your armor does recover your hit points as you're walking around.
I
forgot
completely
about that.
forgot about that. That's true.
For all the good it's done us.
Yeah. All right, let's check my hit points here. 65.
Oof.
All right, so here's a question.
Yeah.
I saw a poll recently on Game FAQ's Game Facts that was, what is your favorite part of a video game? Like the very beginning, the very end, the middle, and just breaking it down into like 5 different parts of the game. As far as RPGs go, do you have in general, what is your favorite part of RPGs? Is it exploring the towns and talking to people? Is it wandering, discovering new locations? Is it the combat? Is it the bosses? What is your favorite part of RPGs in general?
Oh man. I don't know if I have a definitive answer to that, because for me there's so every single game is different. And I mean, like, yes, it is obviously the least satisfying answer to say, well, it depends to everything. But this game in particular, I think that as simplistic as it is, it's interesting to explore the world and to see all the little details that you find of, various little peninsulae, which I believe is the plural form of peninsula.
Peninsula.
But yeah, getting to see all the peninsulatal, and just being able, the enemy designs are interesting. They're fun to look at. It's just all of the little tiny details for me in this game. The exploration, the battle system is obviously nothing special. I mean, it is basically the textbook definition of a traditional turn-based RPG battle system, and that is basically the identity of Dragon Quest to some degree. But that's what I like about this game. The music it's okay. It's nothing special, once again. But then other RPGs, you know, it's all about the story or it's all about the music. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of other examples of RPGs that I've played, which, you know, I've played quite a few of them, but for some reason I'm kind of blanking on it at the moment.
For me, it's the combat. Combat takes precedence over anything else most of the time. Because the one thing I get out of RPGs that I don't get out of any other game is turn-based, or maybe, depending on it, active combat. Every other game, I can explore places, I can talk to NPCs. In other games, I can get great music in other games, but this style of gameplay, this kind of combat, I can really only get here, unless it's some sort of hybrid genre. So that's what I love about these games, and especially the strategy aspect. And there's a lot of games, we've talked about some where it's not as much about the strategy, or it's a very different kind of strategy, but this, in the moment, what do I have accessible to me? What's the monster capable of? Like, that's why I play RPGs, because I love that gameplay. But behind that is the joy of exploration, which I find in a lot of games, but it's especially in RPGs because, like I was saying, I enjoy looking at that whole map and seeing, wow, this is a really cool world. Someone thought about this, someone put these pieces together, these peninsulas together, and said, this is the world that we want you to live in for a few hours. And I just love discovering what the devs have put into the game. And even if it's nothing, even if there's no reward for it, if it's just like, well, that's a weird little piece of architecture, that's pretty cool. I like experiencing this in the dungeon that I'm in. So just discovery is just such a joy in these games. And finding the new monsters that you can fight in the different locations that you are newly exposed to as well.
And that's so interesting to me because, you know, I was thinking about that, and I largely agree. I find the aspect of exploration a lot. And again, I know I've brought up Xenoblade a bajillion times already, but I have to keep bringing it up because to me, it is in my head, at least most recently, my personal gold standard of what I love about those games, because the gameplay is fantastic. The battle system, when you actually understand it, because the tutorials are awful, so when you actually learn it from someone who actually knows what they're talking about and not from the game itself, is incredibly in-depth, and it's very, very satisfying once you understand how it all works. The music is, of course, amazing, and the world design is massive and expansive, and there's little goodies tucked away in every little corner, and that there's the act of simply exploring the world actually rewards you with bonus experience, which further encourages you to seek things out and to basically be a sort of exploration completionist of your own, in a sense, if you want to. But then I think about games like the Shin Megami Tensei games, where they are dungeon crawler turn-based RPGs, where you're in a first-person perspective in a sort of grid-based maze. And those are, I think, considerably more primitive in their map design, in that, like, as someone who, when I was playing those games, actually went through and used the tool to actually map out those areas myself.
That's a very satisfying gold number that we have.
Yeah, how about that? That's great. Dang.
Sorry, you were saying
I hate to do anything further. We can't get any more gold. We're gonna have to. I mean, we can't fight any more enemies. We just have to.
We need to find an enemy that gives 0 gold and enough XP so that we also get ones across the board for the ease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was mentioning the Shin Megami Tensei games because they're the first couple games, the ones that I've played and more of, are the Super Nintendo and NES variety of those games. And so their world design is very primitive. Generally, it's all repetitive tiles. And really, the actual design of the maps is rarely ever interesting. It can be once you've actually mapped it all out and you can look at this and go, oh yeah, there's kind of some interesting shapes here and there. But generally speaking, navigating it and exploring it is mostly just, well, I'm just going to keep going around and bumping into every wall until I've mapped out this, or at least been able to see every corner, so that I can have an understanding of what's in each region. But oddly enough, in those types of games, the actual act of mapping itself is what's more, oh, nice, I have 11333 gold. That's pretty cool. But it's the act of mapping itself that I find a little bit more satisfying in those types of situations, even if the world is not actually that interesting or rewarding to explore. It can often be kind of dull, to be perfectly honest. It's like the exploration version of grinding, in a sense, is mapping out games like that, in that you can find them enjoyable in a sense, but they're not engaging.
You know, it's interesting. We previously identified story-rich as one of the hallmarks of an RPG, and I don't think any of us at any point has especially gushed about the story in any game.
Oh, like, I can if you want to.
Well, yeah, I know. And absolutely there are RPGs I've played where I have really enjoyed the story and gotten into it, but story is typically one of the least important parts of, well, really any game for me, because, again, I play video games for many reasons, but one of them is to get experiences that I can't get from other media. I can get good music and good story from a movie or a television show. I can get good story from a book. Like, there's lots of things that I can get elsewhere aside from the gameplay. So gameplay is king for me almost every time. But then story is also very low on the list just because I can get good story so many other places. And it's, I don't know, it's just kind of funny to me that we haven't really talked about any of that. Like, if a game has a lot of character and personality, I'll enjoy talking to all of the NPCs. I usually find cutscenes to be interminable. I get antsy and want to be the one directing the action. And honestly, sometimes I don't pay full attention when there's too many words. I'm like, let me just get back to the action.
Yeah.
You would not, well, this isn't an RPG, but you would not like Metal Gear Solid then, perhaps?
I played the first Metal Gear Solid that was the GameCube version.
Oh,
and I enjoyed
okay.
that. That was like a 3 out of 5 for me. The gameplay wasn't entirely my kind of gameplay. But I like the story well enough. But yeah, that was well before the like 3-day long cutscenes that they introduced later in the series.
Yeah. And even then, that game was still already like kind of pioneering that, you know, you are playing a movie here. But yeah, the later games in the series would be like, you know, I think Metal Gear Solid 1, I played the PlayStation 1 version, and I would say that game is like, I don't know, 35 to 40% cutscene and 60 to 65% gameplay. You know, the second game is probably 50-50. Third game is probably 50-50, and then I think Metal Gear Solid 4, which I haven't really seen much of, and Metal Gear Solid 5 are, well, actually Metal Gear Solid 5 goes back into a lot of gameplay now that I think about it, but Metal Gear Solid 4 I think is something like 70% cutscene, 30% gameplay. It's a little bit, I've heard that it is kind of crazy how much that game is just an interactive movie. Which,
now, Jeddy, we haven't heard from you on this point.
Yeah.
What's your favorite aspect of an RPG?
Yeah, so I guess that's the thing, is that I would want to say exploration, right? That, like, for me, exploration really is a big deal in a game. Like, I think I talked on a podcast about the game Sable. I don't know if either of you have played it.
I'm not familiar, no.
Any relation to Fable?
No.
It's the no. That's the she works in the tailors in Animal Crossing.
Very good.
Yeah, like basically Sable is what if you took all of the like combat out of Breath of the Wild, right? What if it was just a game about climbing? And it was extremely fun. I loved exploring every inch of that world. There's secrets all over the place. There's items to gather. There's things to see, things to do. It was a lot of fun, and I would say in an RPG that I enjoy experiencing the world and exploring and stuff. But so few RPGs. Maybe more so recently, they've actually started to do that, right? Like, going back to Breath of the Wild, if we can consider that to be an RPG, do encourage exploration. But, like, most of the exploration, circa, 1992 or whatever, there was no reason to really do it. There was nothing to see on that peninsula, that as much as I did it, right, and as much as I walked around the whole world just because, school is over, I've already beaten this game, I'm just kind of going around, right? What else am I going to do? Level up to level 50 in Soul Blazer. So I would say exploration is one of my favorite parts, but it is one of my favorite parts of a game, but sadly, RPGs do not do enough with it.
And, well, I guess it depends again on what we consider RPGs, because I think when I think of exploring in an RPG, I think of a game like Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past or something like that, which is an action art. Would you say that's an action RPG, or is it more of just an action game?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that
genres are weird and nebulous.
Yeah, right? Because, leveling isn't really a thing, right? Because you have kind of a static number of hearts, and, you can increase the hearts occasionally, but it's not done through, leveling, right? And I feel like that's kind of the dividing line in that, era of games is, some games kind of had story a little bit, but if it doesn't have that kind of formula of leveling up, I don't really personally consider it to be an RPG.
I give action RPG a pass if it doesn't have leveling up. I do consider, if you just asked me what genre is The Legend of Zelda, I would say action RPG, because even though you're not gaining experience points, you're still getting gold, effectively. You're getting currency from the battles, and you are increasing the abilities of your character by, you're gaining hearts, you are getting new powers, you are getting stronger versions of your existing equipment in some cases. So in a way, it has all the same elements of an RPG where you level up. It's just the game mechanics are slightly different.
That's true. Do we want to go get the shield?
We're almost there, yeah.
I mean, I feel like if we just started walking over there, we would be done by the time we get there.
Maybe. Well, but the thing is, when we get into the region anywhere close to Cantlin, my only way of reliably surviving getting there was just running away from everything. So I feel like I'm not close enough yet.
What's our
1400 is the number we're shooting for, so one battle. And we will definitely have one battle.
I thought it was 14,800 gold.
Oh, maybe it was a little bit more, but I thought it was definitely 14 something. Because I remember it was 77 for the armor, and we said it was about double that.
Yeah, I want to say it was 14,800 gold for the silver
I think you're right.
shield. So I just want to get just a little bit more with the expectation that I'm probably just going to be running from everything.
Okay. What's our level looking like?
We're about 1,500 away, just under 1,500 experience points away from the next level. And I guess sometimes we get spells on consecutive level ups, but I'm not expecting to get heal more. I was really excited thinking we might be about to get heal more, but then it was just repel. And I mean, yes, it's useful, it's handy, it's convenient, but also it doesn't help me survive. If I'm only repelling weak enemies, they were never going to be a considerable threat to my survival. Anyway.
Man, I don't know, just thinking about RPGs, right? Like, it is odd to me to think about, I guess, kind of the evolution of the genre, you know? Like, that this was what an RPG was for a long time. And now, again, like, talking about, you know, what is my favorite RPG? And it's like, I don't know, Breath of the Wild or Borderlands 2, right? And it's like, well, those aren't really traditional RPGs in the sense, right?
No.
But if you want a game that has the exploration that I like, and it has some kind of story, and it has some kind of leveling, that's those games.
Yeah.
Right? Because I would say, you know, exploration is kind of a big part of Borderlands. That, like, there's a lot of things to see in little corners, and like, you know, quests to go on and so on, that take you to different places, force you to get out there. But then coming back and trying to, like, say, oh yeah, it's an RPG, just like Dragon Warrior, right?
Yeah, it's just hard to, you know, kind of qualify everything in that same way. Do I have any hit points? Nope, nothing left to gain. I'm gonna save
Man,
up.
We're doing so good.
Yeah, we got.
If you heal really, really hard, maybe your max hips will increase.
Yeah.
That you know what? That actually, that makes me think a little bit. I haven't played it in a while, but I was playing Hollow Knight, and in that game, you have basically a certain number of. I almost want to say they're a bit like badge points in a Paper Mario game, where you can equip a certain number of accessories, and eventually, as you continue in the game, you can buy upgrades that will let you equip more of these accessories that give you certain abilities. But if you want to, you can spam trying to add more, I think one extra accessory above what you can normally fit, and you have to, like, try it several times, and it'll go like dink, try and slot into the next spot with there's no slot there. And so if you keep repeatedly bashing it into place, it will eventually fit, but it will be like shaking and unstable, and all the while it is there, you will be taking double damage. So you can go 1 over your typical maximum at any time in exchange for.
Let me just, I was going to say,
let's get moving here.
Repel and walk.
Yeah, in exchange for taking double damage, which I was just thinking, because you literally have to bash this thing into place. It's kind of funny. But that's an interesting mechanic, I feel like.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be interested to see. Let me check again what my status is. Okay. 63 and 59. Then we've got 91 attack power, 65 defense power. So we'll see what the silver shield does. For how expensive it is, I sure hope it is a considerable upgrade in terms of defense. All right.
So, talking about interesting game mechanics, what is a good example of an unusual game mechanic that you haven't seen in more than one game, or at least not many games, that you've liked, even if it wasn't executed brilliantly? Like one that's just like, oh, that's really interesting, I like that.
I would have to say, I think, again, I'm going to say Xenoblade, because they have a mechanic called the chain attack, which works differently in every game in the series, which is interesting in and of itself. But I feel like the first game's iteration of it was a little rough, not super fun, because a lot of it required basically RNG in order to see whether or not you would do well at it. But in Xenoblade 2, it was a little bit almost like a puzzle of where you do these big, powerful attacks on enemies. And when you would, it would inflict them with what was basically an elemental orb that would reduce significantly the power of any attacks on that enemy with the corresponding element. But if you initiated a chain attack, you could then break those orbs. But you... And the more orbs were on an enemy from hitting them with these powerful elemental attacks, the more... I'm just going to cast another repel and see if it helps reduce the encounter rate, maybe. It will... The more... And then by attacking them in this chain attack, you basically freeze time, and then you go through rounds of your party attacking the enemy with their special elemental abilities again. But this time, it damages those orbs with each strike. And if you hit an orb with the corresponding element that it's weak to, it will deal double damage. And for every orb you break, it deals massive damage to the enemy and grants you an additional full party round of attacks against that creature. So, but the caveat is you can't pick most of the time what orb is being targeted by your current attack unless it's specifically countering an element that's present, in which case it'll always hit the right one.
Okay, so this is not the right armor shop.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's a bit complicated to explain, but basically it's almost like a puzzle.
Might be behind one of the doors? Yes. Or no, that was something different.
I was trying to remember. Was it this guy?
Nope.
No?
Maybe it was behind the door.
Erdrick's sword. That's something we haven't actually seen yet.
Yeah.
Oh, repel has lost its effect. Someone very angry nearby, Jeddy. Or is that a train?
Yeah. It's definitely one or the other.
All right, where... Radishes. Nope.
Maybe they're chasing the UFO.
Maybe.
So about that magic door that I said it might be behind.
Yeah, okay. Right. I just wanted to check besides that without... All right. Door. All right. Silver shield.
Yeah, and you were right. It was 14,800.
Yep. You'll buy my large shield. That should give an idea of the price discrepancy, because he buys for half of what you originally bought the goods for. So the large shield was 800 compared to 14,800.
It's close. Is that okay?
Question mark. Yeah.
Oof.
All right. Wow.
All right. So let's check out our status.
Okay. That. Oh shoot. I've already forgotten what I was at before. Did that bring us up by 10?
I think so.
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see, what's my... Okay, I've got a lot of hips and mips. Well, first of all, save. And now, I'm curious if I head out of town to see...
Oh, right, just for the fun of it.
Yeah, just for the fun of it. Let's get into
We haven't
a battle.
been around this edge much.
Yeah. Oh, a green dragon. All right.
This will actually be a good test.
Wow,
that
not bad.
Is a reasonable amount to recover from.
It is.
Okay.
And the fire breath didn't even.
Cancels out one regular heal. And an herb will actually get you ahead.
Bam. All right.
Wow.
Okay. Cool. Very good.
And now if we die, it doesn't matter because we don't need money for anything anymore, really.
Sure, let's grind up here a little bit. 12? Okay.
Although it would be a shame if it's like, the king says, oh, GameCola, thou wert taken before thine time, and also was your shield.
Oh, no.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. I'm feeling a little better here. Still...
Yeah, this feels much better. This is how it should be.
Yeah, good grief. I only needed to buy like the most expensive item in the entire game to be able to deal with the enemies.
I mean, to be fair, we did kind of press ahead in a couple of sections where normally the game might have expected you to spend some quality time beating up monsters, leveling up a little bit before trying to push forward.
Yeah, that is certainly true. Okay, all right.
Because ostensibly, you know, even though you have the ability to go anywhere in the world from the get-go, I think the game kind of wants you to defeat the green dragon before you go on any of the other quests of building the rainbow bridge or anything.
Which is interesting because I felt that, you know, beating the green dragon and finishing Garen's tomb were of roughly equal difficulty level. Because the dragon was certainly dealing a lot of damage, but the enemies in the bottom level of the tomb were also considerably fearsome, and
But I guess...
there were tons of them.
Yep.
Okay, let's see how herb healing does me here.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem. Yeah, but I think what that means is that we were supposed to grind more near the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't learned grind more yet. We almost have it.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Sadly, that comes at level 30 when you're at the end of the game.
Yeah. It's not really a spell. It's just a sign of status.
Yeah.
I could maybe. It'll be a little bit rough. But I feel like we could potentially kind of manage to do some grinding here now that we have this added bit of survivability.
Or if you really want to go out on a limb, we could head back to Hawksness and try and take on the Axe Murderer again. Axe Man, Axe Gang, Axe Body Spray.
The thing is...
Hashtag not sponsored.
The thing is that we weren't able to sleep the Axe Knight, right?
Right, we can stop spell the Axe Knight.
What did he cast spells?
Yeah, he did hurt more.
And
heal more.
And it is technically, just rub it in our faces that we don't have it, why don't you?
Yeah.
So it is technically possible, according to the resource I was looking at, to put the axe guy to sleep. But it's like a 1 in 16 chance of actually pulling it off. So basically not worth it unless you luck out on the first try.
Interesting.
But the thought that I had was, now that we have better armor, and now that we've got more hit points than we had the last time we went in there, our herbs are basically healing back almost exactly as much damage as we were taking before.
What is happening in this battle?
All right,
come
forget
on.
it.
We're running away is what's happening, right?
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking is, now that we have some armor where each hit that we're receiving might be slightly less than an herb would heal back,
Right, yeah.
we might have a shot, especially if we can get off one excellent move in there.
Yeah.
Why are we doing that? Just go to the inn.
Because I didn't think about it.
Just force of habit.
Yeah.
Like, the innkeeper is watching you heal yourself outside the door before you go in.
Yeah, now I need to go get some herbs.
You don't want to be embarrassed going in. You want to just go in and be like, yeah, I'm just coming here, to relax. I don't really need to heal.
Yeah, I'm
It's
just...
like, I don't want to bleed all over your sheets. At least let me get presentable before I come in here. But anyhow, that's a thought. Like, I am perfectly content to rough up a couple monsters, maybe get another level in, because how far away are we at this point from leveling up?
Let's
Oh, yeah.
check. I think 1200? Just under 1,200. Okay.
Ah. We are THX levels of experience.
Oh, 1137?
So, yeah, I mean, if we want to rough up monsters a while longer, we could. But I feel like it might be worth a jaunt.
A jaunt
But an
where?
efficient jaunt.
Where to?
To Hawksness.
To Hawksness.
To take another
I
crack
see.
at getting the armor.
Gotcha.
Although we are definitely going to be at a disadvantage coming from this angle, so maybe, actually, change of thought, maybe we go into Metal Slime territory and try and rustle up a Metal Slime or two, and then once we run out of MIPS, we teleport back to the King, heal up, save, then we go to Hawksness, going the easy route where we can repel all the monsters on the way there.
Yeah.
I wish I
Nice
had
to wake
some
up.
kind of spell resistance to sleep. Good grief.
That's one thing that I really enjoyed about Super Nintendo era RPGs moving forward. I don't think I really saw it on any, like, I mean, yeah, you kind of got them on one or two earlier RPGs, but I think around Super Nintendo time it became standard that you would get equipment that specifically resisted different status effects. And, you know, you had that as early as Crystallis, but you know, just as a standard of here is a specific piece of equipment that protects you from sleep, protects you from fire damage, from whatever. And I like that, just that little bit of here's an accessory slot, maybe 2 slots, and you can just put in whatever you want. That radically changes how the battles play out, and that gives so much more replay value because all of a sudden you have so much more control over, you know, what am I actually dealing with in battles now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that little bit of extra, like just giving you more options, giving you more flexibility, is just really nice. And it's just one accessory slot. How's my hit points? Okay, we're all right.
Because, like, if at this point in the game, you had the option of one accessory slot for something that boosted your strength, or your defense, or your sleep resistance, or your magic resistance, or if it maybe increased the chances of your spells working, like, what would you go with?
Man, that's, I mean, even hypothetically, that's a difficult question for me sometimes. I feel like probably protection from spells is what I would go with personally, because I feel like well, I mean, because even then, like, I would probably change it up depending on what I was going up against, which is another thing that's really nice about it, because right now, just fighting regular enemies, it's just generally pure damage that I'm worried about. Individual attacks are doing loads and loads of damage, and so I'm having to heal up after almost every battle. Wow, I defeated that Wraith Knight with surprising ease.
Right? Yeah, he did 4 damage to you.
Yeah. That's the least damage I think he's ever done. All right, the demon. Oh, these demon knights are a real pain in my soul.
Man, you're interrupting his mountainside beach vacation down here on the coast.
He's working on his tan.
I think he tanned a little too hard.
Maybe.
It's like toast that's gone too far.
Maybe that's why he's attacking me. He's upset. And he's just trying to vent.
So, do you have any mechanics that you enjoy, Nathaniel?
The rolling hit points in Earthbound, I always thought was a fantastic idea, and it's not a mechanic that I've really seen anywhere else. Like, it's unique to Earthbound or games that try to be like Earthbound. But I think it's clever because, yeah, okay, you took 30 damage and you only had 20 hit points, but if you're fast enough, you can chomp down on a burger and recover your hit points before that rolling number hits 0. And sometimes you can even sustain critical damage, but the roller just stops 1 hit point short. You just get lucky, and it doesn't quite roll all the way down. And I love that because it means that even if even if the worst happens, and it's completely not your fault, it was just random chance, you can still strategically get your way out of it.
And I think
That
that's
is a good one.
That was based on the guts stat, I believe, determining whether or not a given hit
How quickly it rolls, I think.
I think it was
here we
also what
go.
determined the chance odds
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it. Can I put you to sleep?
Don't think sleep, but hurt might actually work. I might be making that up also.
The spell will not work. All right.
Oh,
I think
interesting.
attack
don't
is
think I've
probably
ever-
best bet. I will look this up. But I think attack is probably best bet.
God, the Demon Knight, I need to just run away from these guys because they dodge so frequently. They have a very, very high agility. Oh, got another one.
Hey.
Aw. He called
Okay,
his friend
yeah,
the
so-
Demon Knight.
So it turns out it would have been just as effective to use any spell because sleep, stop spell, and hurt are all a 15 out of 16 chance of being resisted.
Ah.
Oh wow.
So attacking is the better option there. But although I think that they have a high chance of dodging as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, I don't know how the stats work out on your chance of hitting because it says here agility is 255.
Yeah.
So max agility, presumably.
Mhm.
And I don't know what the calculation is to figure out your chances of hitting. So it may actually be, more effective to try and cast hurt if your chances of landing a hit are even smaller.
Yeah, that's
Well, I
true.
think it's that you just do 1 damage basically, regardless. Like,
Oh
unless
yeah,
you-
because
Excellent.
defense is what agility really determines.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
That's probably why its agility is so high, is because everything does 1 damage to it. All right, I have only 6 SMIPs at this point, so
Oh no. So you can't return now.
I have wings.
You have wings, but you'd need to go all the way to another town to buy wings
Well,
again.
Then
Yeah.
Although I guess if we die, we're not going to lose the XP, right?
Yeah.
And that'll take us back to the king.
that's true,
That's a
and
good point.
we don't have to worry about losing gold anymore because there's nothing left to buy. At least not
Right,
that I
yeah.
know of.
I mean,
Ugh.
just replacement herbs and
Yeah.
inn visits.
Yeah, but that's reasonable.
And if we happen to encounter any places that need keys in the final dungeon.
Oh, that's a good point.
But, even one monster at that point will pay for a key. Well, why don't we aim ourselves back in the direction of home and see how far we get.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
working on.
But yeah, so super exciting now that we have all of the best equipment that money can buy.
Literally. Because it's not the best equipment, just the best equipment that money can buy.
And I do think that we're going to be leveling up here shortly, and then
Yeah, we're real
after
close.
that we can definitely try.
Excellent move.
Nice. We can try to go for Erdrick's armor.
So did everybody weigh in on interesting game mechanics that they liked?
Man, I'm trying to think of an interesting game mechanic.
Video games just don't have interesting mechanics.
Man, I guess that's the thing, is what constitutes a mechanic and what constitutes interesting, right?
Don't.
I
We're
mean,
starting to play
Will you
semantics
fight me if
now.
I'm fully visible?
I washed off my covering of charcoal.
Oh, is it the
That skeleton. Oh, this is a little morbid. That
Take
skeleton.
one step
That skeleton
forward
was
out
a
of the
person.
shadows into the spotlight, please. You missed
Yeah,
your mark.
I was gonna say that skeleton. That skeleton formerly died in a fire.
That was one of the more interesting enemies in Hyperdimension Neptunia. They had various types of skeleton enemies with mohawks, and they're sitting cross-legged on a carpet floating around. So just an interesting, inherently interesting design that I haven't seen before, but different flavors of that kind of skeleton, and one of them looked like it was like charred black, and it was in a volcano. So just you normally don't see skeletons like that. So I thought that was neat.
That is very cool. I do enjoy when they design the game so that like that enemies are sort of thematic to the region as well. I like that a lot. All right, we made it back home. Almost. Slime gets a critical
Very
hit.
big, powerful, grumpy slime that you somehow dodged every single time before this attacks.
Yes. It's the secret
I
boss.
do like when a game will introduce new monsters when you go back to like earlier areas of the game. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Or again, to bring up Xenoblade, they design the world such that there are, even in the very starting areas, there will just be ridiculously strong end game or post game level enemies just walking around, and that they can absolutely just catch you off guard if you're not paying attention and one shot you. Like that is a thing specifically that the Xenoblade games do, is they have an enemy that's usually some kind of enemy called Territorial Rothbard, and it's basically this giant basically ape or gorilla that's like 10-15 times your size, that just walks around in the specifically the starting area, that if you're just not paying attention, it will just destroy you, which is not a huge setback. There's checkpoints very frequently. And it's an open world game anyway. Oh, 713. I kind of want to get to the next level here before we wrap things up.
I mean, that's still like 20 battles,
That's
right?
true.
Yeah, I mean, if we go into Hawksness, and if we take down the axe dude, then we may well get that.
Yeah. Do we want to do that now, or do we want to save it for next time?
Let's do it!
Let's do it. I can't because this guy.
What is he doing?
This guy's like,
Sir.
wait till the next episode. Come on.
Oh, why? Sir, please, you can't get down the stairs.
He doesn't know how to use the stairs command. That's the problem.
How do
he
I
keeps
take
using
the
talk.
stairs?
Yes.
Oh, come back,
and-
come back. Maybe go to the
Yes.
other side of the room. You'll lure him that way.
Yes.
Yes, go.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Nice.
Whew, okay. That was the final boss right there.
Yeah, we know our hardest challenge yet.
Like in D&D, that the most of the time is spent trying to open the door.
We're deciding
we were
what we're
talking
gonna...
about the bosses out of season, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like boss quality monsters out of season. And that's one thing I love about Octopath Traveler is after you defeat the boss of a dungeon, you can just find the boss randomly wandering around as a random encounter.
Oh, no way. That's, I know that mechanic from the Mega Man Battle Network games. After you defeat a
yes.
boss Navi, you can, like, if you go to a certain tucked away corner on the internet, you can find them, rebattle them, and then once you've done that, they appear as a random encounter in that region. I thought that was such an interesting mechanic. So if you don't want to have them as a random encounter, you can choose to not discover them in their tucked away like nook, because it's always somewhere very out of the way. But
Okay, so efficiency here. Efficiency. As few steps as possible.
All right.
Down to the corner. To the right. Yeah.
All right.
Nope.
Almost there.
Nice.
Good.
Nice. Okay, and up there. Yeah.
Now, do we want a quick save before we do this?
I think so.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
you just had
Come
to 24 damage. You just had to do that. Oh, I did
because I've got a
not
quick
stock
save.
up on herbs as well.
That's fine. That's
It's
fine.
fine.
Let's.
It's fine. Well, yeah.
Heal.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We're fine. This is, yeah. We got this.
Because if
Totally
this
not a
doesn't
big deal.
pan out, we've at least saved ourselves all the trip back here, but let's see how this goes.
All right.
Do we want to stop spell first?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's like a 50% chance, roughly. Yes!
Okay.
Although it's funny with stop spell, because if it's like, you cast stop spell, the spell will not work. And it's like, does that mean I was successful?
Yeah.
14 is much more manageable.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice. Yeah, we got this.
Excellent move.
Oh.
Yes.
What? What?
Awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And found nothing.
Erdrick's armor.
All right.
70.
And we just equip it automatically.
Yeah, that only gave me
I
4 extra defense points.
But what's different about this armor is that it heals in fewer steps.
Ooh.
And I believe it makes you, walk out of here. Just walk one step left. Well, heal and then walk one step left.
I'm not damaged by the tiles.
Well, here, I wanted to see how much it healed you. 82
Oh, yeah.
86, right? So, yeah, okay, so
83.
it doesn't do anything.
Every step, 1 HP.
All right.
Wow. Yeah, no, I feel like you're fine now, right? I feel like you can take them.
All right. Well, let's see.
Let's see how we do.
Yeah.
And I want to say this also increases your magic resistance of some sort.
Ouch. 23.
Yeah, he's still rough.
Heal more. All right.
Come on now.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Oh, you blocked me in
What?
front.
Oh, come
you
on.
jerk.
Okay. So in addition to all of the abilities we've just discovered, it also reduces damage from fire breath.
Okay, well, that's good, because this guy is doing that.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Okay.
Fine.
Oh, phew. Okay.
These enemies are just... I'm going to be honest. They're obnoxious and not in a good way.
Well, maybe we take this as our cue, because we're approaching about end of the episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we take one step outside, zip back to the king, wrap it up, and then have this as a good stopping point. Because then next time, the only thing left to do is Dragon Lord's castle.
I've heard...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I need to talk to the person in the village of Cole who
That's true.
who needed
That's
to
true.
see my
Right.
weapon. Well, but however, I also heard talk of Erdrick's sword, which I've seen nothing
yeah.
of at this point. I have his token and I have his armor. But there were several people who I couldn't seem to convince that I was, in fact, the descendant of Erdrick. So I wonder if there is, in fact, that the sword is someplace that I can go. But I've not heard any actual concrete descriptions of where such a thing would be. I've only just heard occasional passing remarks of, oh yeah, this is a thing that existed at one point and it could cleave steel. But nothing about where it would actually be. So I don't know. Because they said that Erdrick had 3 pieces of equipment.
So let's get some herbs before we go, and maybe a torch.
Yes. Just to be well stocked up. Oh, repel lost its effect.
Oh, no.
Darn. The monsters will make it into town.
Although one thing I would like to request before we take on the castle.
Is it a dragon
There's-
request?
Yes. There is a section that's very good of the map that we haven't been through yet.
Oh,
and I feel
really?
like, there is a loop one of the other bridges near Catlin that we didn't go over leads to a swamp maze out in the mountains that we did not go through, which would have been too dangerous to go through previously. But now that we have the armor and can walk through swamps just fine, I feel like it would be a good test to do a loop around that outer edge of that side of the continent near Catlin, where we have not been. And if we can successfully complete one loop without getting murdered, that's a good sign that we're ready to take on the castle.
All right. Sounds like a plan. And we're, still not super close to the next level, but we're getting there.
Because importantly, we still haven't learned Heal More.
That's true. And that, I feel like that will be, then we'll, we can keep a stock of herbs on hand, but I'm hopeful that Heal More will heal more than herbs. Also, just for the sake of variety, I'm going to save here instead of just in the room with the king and princess, because we've been saving and stopping episodes there a couple times now. Variety!
Well, go hide behind the pillar so that,
Yeah.
No, the other side of the pillar, dude, where nobody can see you. There, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now we can successfully do a, wardrobe change or whatever, and nobody's the wiser.
Yeah, we'll swap back to the magic armor because Erdrick's armor doesn't fit us quite right. We have to take it to a tailor.
I'm just waiting. I'm sure some game with a sense of humor has done this, but one of those where you see your character change with the armor that they equip, and the absolute, by far, best armor in the game is the stupidest, most obnoxious looking thing possible.
Oh my gosh, I have a video to share with you on that regard.
Oh, good.
After this is over. But we will see you all in the next episode. Bye.
Goodbye.